Thank you very much. The Biden border disaster is now so egregious that the far-left mayors of New York, Chicago, and even the liberal governors of New York, Massachusetts are slamming Crooked Joe, the most corrupt president in our history, the most incompetent president in our history, for swamping their cities and towns with thousands of unwanted migrants, bringing crime, disease, and colossal burdens on our schools, hospitals, and public resources. You see in New York where kids who don't speak, it's not their fault. Kids who don't speak a word of English are being put into classrooms. They're sitting there, they're saying, what am I doing? What am I doing here? They don't do anything about it. There's nothing they can do about it. The mayor of New York said the migrant crisis will destroy New York City, and he was excoriated for saying that. But even worse, Biden's deadly border betrayals are destroying innocent lives. Just days ago, an illegal alien criminal who was previously caught and released into the interior by Crooked Joe was arrested for brutally murdering a 28-year-old young man. Fabulous future ahead of this young man, stabbing him many, many times. In Erie County, New York, another illegal alien who was among hundreds and hundreds of migrants who were flowing in, bused from New York City to upstate rural communities by the mayor. Communities like this were charged with raping a woman in a hotel room in front of her 3-year-old toddler and beating her up very badly. Another illegal alien bust to the same area attacked an aid worker tasked with helping the migrants. This was a person who was helping the migrants out of whatever feelings she may have had, and then he violently raped her again and again. Many people have been badly hurt and even killed by the illegal migrants invading our country. If you want, does anyone ever hear the snake? Do you know the snake? Should I do it or not? You tell me. We have time, right? I brought it. Should I do it? All right. It's a metaphor. It's so accurate, but it's not a snake. It's people that we're allowing into our country. Many criminals, people from jails, from mental institutions, terrorists. This is what, and this is where I think it's quite accurate. On our way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Poor thing," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found the pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. "Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died." She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying, "Thank you, ma'am," the snake gave her a vicious bite. "Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. "I saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in." That's what's happening. That's what's...
Wow. Go ahead, brother. Take it.
So this story reminds me of an even older story dating back. It goes back to the scorpion and the frog. I don't know if anybody's ever heard this story before.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I
So there is a scorpion, and he's on the bank of the riverside looking for a new home. And he's going up and down the riverbank, but he can't find any place to make a suitable home. And he thinks to himself, Perhaps on the other side of the river, there might be someplace more suitable for my home. But I can't swim. I
Mhm.
can't get to the other side of the river. How am I ever going to get over there to find out? Suddenly, a frog appears, and the frog very cautiously comes up, and the scorpion goes up to him and says, "Frog, be a friend and take me across the river so I may get to the other side." And the frog at first is like, "But if I do, you're going to sting me and we will both surely die." And he's
Mm.
like, and the scorpion is like, "No, I will never do such a thing because I want to make it to the other side. I want to live. I want to survive.
Mhm.
So please take me,
Mm.
give me a ride." And reluctantly at first, but eventually the frog gives in and decides to give the scorpion a ride. And the scorpion climbs onto the frog's back and starts giving him a ride across the river.
Mm.
At about halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog in the back.
Mm.
And the frog looks up at him in a paralyzed state and says, "What did you do that for? Now we're both going to die."
Mm.
And the scorpion looks back at him and says, "Well, what'd you expect? I'm a scorpion."
It's in my nature. Exactly. I mean, I think that's that. I don't know if how do you apply that to illegal immigrants, but I don't know. I think maybe I'll apply it more to the Biden administration. The Biden
It's
administration. I think.
it's more the fact that the illegal immigrants that are coming
Hmm.
aren't the best and brightest of
Hmm.
the bunch.
No.
They're sending us their refuse.
Hmm.
They're the worst of the worst.
I heard some
Like,
cases they've emptied out their entire prison to and
yeah,
sent them over here. Yeah.
their prison systems, their uh institutions,
Hmm.
um basically any of their dregs of society
Hmm.
have pretty much been sent here.
I'm gonna make this statement, and I know some people might have an issue with this. I'm one of those guys. I like to tell the truth, if even if it's coming from the worst kind of people, right? Like for example, if the atheist man says the truth, I'm gonna quote him. Right? If he
Hmm.
says something, if Satanist says the truth, I'm gonna quote them. You know, the white supremacists used to cry out against illegal immigration, and they used to say a number of things that many politicians are affirming now. I mean, no way saying I'm for them. I don't care about white supremacists and what they represent. But they used to warn, if you bring all these immigrants right into the United States, because they were doing it for a different purpose. They wanted to preserve the white race and all that. That's a different cause. It's one thing you preserve your race, but it's another thing you just become a bigot.
Right.
But what they were advocating for, a lot of this stuff we actually experiencing. Like we can actually admit, let's just admit some of the stuff a lot of white supremacists used to say about illegal immigrants and what they would do to the country and the nation and the economy. Can we admit that they were actually right? Like,
I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
can we admit that they were right? Like, we don't have to support their cause.
And we don't have to agree with their beliefs.
No. For example, Eric Adams' statements recently about what the illegal immigrants are doing to the country and New York City and how much money, how he'll destroy New York City. These were things white supremacists used to say.
Mhm.
These were things years ago when you say that you were called xenophobic and so on. But they weren't lying. They
Mm-mm.
were lying. They were extreme with it. They were for all. They were against all level of immigrants. That was extreme. That was wrong. But legal immigrants could be a benefit to the country if they're coming in the right way, tested and everything. You know what I'm saying? That's a different case.
And that's the whole thing with Trump is what most people don't realize is he's not against immigration at all.
No.
He's just against illegal immigration. He wants you to, if you come to the country, he wants you to do so in the proper manner through the
Mhm.
proper channels,
Yeah.
so that you know
Hmm.
we know you're a person of good standing
Yeah.
and
I
and
have.
not
I
a
have
scumbag.
exactly. I have. I have done a study recently. I haven't commented on that. Actually, I plan on doing some more digging. There is a link to an institution, and you know me, Darth Vader. There is a link to an institution, and I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. You know, when Biden became president, there was one particular institution that was really excited for Biden's presidency. It was the Catholic Church. Let me pause. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Before you call me all kind of names, I want to pause and let you know something. I study the Bible, and I study like prophecy, and I study a lot of history. That's kind of like where my strength is. I'm not a politician so much. I do a lot of preaching, and I do a lot of prophecy studies. I don't say I know everything, but I know a few things in prophecy. You see the Roman Catholic Church? Do your research. I'm not gonna tell you much. I'm gonna simply days this. You see the Roman Catholic Church? Go read the canon law and what they say. You see the illegal immigrant stuff that's going on? And Biden's had meeting with the Pope and nobody was allowed inside. I want to tell you something. You need to go and read what the canon law of the Roman Catholic Church believe about illegal immigrants. Go and read what they say about capitalism, how much they hate that. Go and read about what they say about the Constitution of the United States. Go and read about how they feel about our institutions as a whole. It will make your head hurt. There's a video I can share with you of a pastor. He's not a bigot. The man is quoting from their books. He's telling you this is what they believe. This is what they want to do. This is what they want to do. A lot of what Biden is doing, I'm telling you, is coming from Catholicism. Friends, I'm telling you, if you think I'm a ridiculous man, fine, let me be a ridiculous man today. But I'm telling you, tomorrow you're going to look back and say, that crazy black pastor in Pennsylvania was saying some stuff and we thought he was stupid and dumb. Go do your research. Go read some of the canon laws. You see, like the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab, CDBDC we're talking about. I was reading there today some of the canon laws stuff. It is communistic thinking from Catholicism. I was so shocked. I'm like, yo, they have in their genes communistic thinking. And that's what it goes all the way back to the Dark Ages and what they did back then. Let me tell you something. I'm not attacking Roman Catholic. Half of my family is Catholic. My mother is a Catholic. Loving, lovely people. We're not talking people here. We're talking about an institution that wants to see America destroyed. And I'm telling you, friends, go study some of the teachings of Catholicism. Go read their canon laws. Read it with an open eyes. It will leave your mouth drop. You will say, my Lord, is Biden getting his talking points? Is he getting his counsel from the Pope of Rome? Is that what's going on here? It might shock you.
And not to mention the fact that
it might shock you.
What is the largest corporation in the world?
Yeah.
It's the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah.
There is no other corporation. If you actually look it up, it's actually an incorporated.
Go. As a matter of fact, go look any words spoken by the Pope for the past couple years. They say a lot of things about a lot of things, right? They're all for the climate change. As a matter of fact, there's a document called Laudato Si. Friends, I've done my homework. I'm not talking from the both sides. Listen, I know what I'm talking about. I've read the document.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, you can go read Laudato Si, page 237. I can give you the reference. I can put presentation together that will make you cry about some of the stuff these people are doing. You see the climate change stuff? You see this climate change movement? Guess where it's coming from, friends? You might think, oh, it's Biden. Bruh, it's coming from Catholicism. If you do a little bit more digging, if you do a little bit more research, even with this open border policy, there is not a single condemnation from the Pope. Have you heard that? Pope condemns a lot of things. He condemns this. He condemns that. Even actually the war in Ukraine. He said, the war in Ukraine, if you do some research, you will find out it is approved, supported, and sponsored by the church. You can go as far back to slavery. Go find out who put their stamps of approval on slavery. Friends, if you don't know what the Catholic Church, who they are as an institution, not the people, not the common people. No. I'm talking about the very head, the foundation. If you don't know who they are, friends, I'm telling you, a lot of this, you can't make sense of them. This is why we're missing the point. And I'm going to come out with a presentation. Actually, I have a whole prophecy studies I'm working on my channel. It's all the presentations already. All I have to do is just record. I've done the presentations already. The research are done. I got quotation that I will quote to you from Catholics who's never been debunked, rejected by them, stuff from their own books. I will give you reference and everything, pages. You will read them, you will say, wait a minute, what am I reading into? Is this Adolf Hitler's teaching? What is this?
Mhm.
You will sit back and say, you cannot be serious. Because in other words, it's the same system that's talking about pro-life, pro-life. Listen, that same system is the same one pushing for the death for the same pro-choice. It will shock you.
Mhm.
Like it will shock you.
And the
On
sexual
one,
perversion of
yes,
children
on
and
one.
adults and other stuff, because they are
Listen,
also the
is
largest, have the largest stash of porn.
friends. I'm telling you, you have no idea. On one hand, they're doing things that you and I agree with. On the other hand, they are instigating things that will make you cry. Like when you study, you see why Trump, the reason I begin to love Trump, I knew this about Catholicism. I've been studying Catholicism for years. I got books and I got my library, like a good amount of that is a lot of stuff that I've studied from their thing. One of the reasons why I love Trump, in 2014, the Catholicism was pushing this the Paris Climate Agreement. They were pushing that. One of the things that they've been pushing for a long time is to unite the world under one government. And
Mhm.
and at the head, the Pope's supposed to emerge as the leading figure. That's the goal. I'm telling you, that's the goal. So
It's always been the goal.
Trump was a cancer. Because when Trump came in, Trump said, America first. Listen, all the persecutions of Trump. As a matter of fact, I can show you the CIA. There's a description of the CIA. Uh, uh, you will see the link to Catholicism. It will almost make your head hurt. It's actually been known as Catholic Institution Association kind of thing. You can look it up. There are people in these places that are working alongside of the Pope. Like his voices is changing laws and policies in the nations in ways you don't even know. What's sad is that people don't actually see the link. When you say that, you may sound like a lunatic because you're like, oh, you hate Catholic. No, bruh, all you have to do is read history. All you have to do is read the Bible and read their own writings. If you simply read their own writings, get the canons of the Catholic Church. Just read that. Get there's a book called the Catechism. Just read some of that. Just read them carefully with an open eyes. You will see what I'm talking about. It's actually so easy to figure it out. All you have to do is read and say, wait a minute. It will shock you what these people say. Anyway, that's another talk.
But yeah, I just wanted to add the part that his little snake story reminded me of the frog and the scorpion.
Oh, that was beautiful. It really does. That was a beautiful, well articulated thing.
Knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. That's what's happening. That's what's happening to our country. That's what's happening to our country. We're taking people in from prisons. We're taking people in from insane asylums. Please don't use that word, sir. That's Silence of the Lamb stuff, right? We're taking mental institutions. We're bringing in terrorists. That's what's happening. That's so accurate. It's so accurate. And it's happening now, but it's going to happen more so and more so. But we'll stop it for the most part. Look, there are 15 million people. That's a lot. But we'll stop it one way or the other. We're going to stop it. What they're doing to our country is they're destroying it. It's the blood of our country. What they're doing is destroying our country. Not one more innocent life should be wrecked by Joe Biden's open border agenda. It's what it is. It's a horrible open border, a sick agenda. It's a sick person's agenda. In my first term, I did more to secure our border than any president by far in history. Here is what I'll do in our second term, because it's us together. It's the greatest movement.
I love the confidence. I love the honesty. I love how he puts that. Our second term.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking like a loser. He talks like a winner because
Mm-hmm.
he is. And I'm telling you, man.
And he's not wrong. He did do more in his first term for open borders than any president ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I know people. I'm telling you, I've said this before. You see Trump? And I've actually shared something. I was in a church and I shared something to some people. I spoke in a parable in a sense. But I was like, you see Trump? You might think he's evil, because you're being told he is. Years down from now, you're gonna study Trump. You're gonna say, "Lord have mercy, what have we done?" That's all I'm gonna say. Trump is not as appreciated as he should be as a figure right now. You're looking at him, you say, "Oh man, he's racist." That narrative is dying. Of course, it is dying because people are paying the prices at the pump and they realize, wait a minute, Trump was good. I'm telling you, a lot of people are gonna wake up to appreciate Trump when it is too late.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna look back and say, "Man, we should have embraced that man.
Mm-hmm.
We should have voted. We should have supported him." Yes, he wasn't the solution to all of our problems, but definitely he was one of the main solutions. I don't want to be the ones who's sitting back in the name of trying to be apolitical. We fail to understand what is really going on at the root. Because once you understand what this man represents, he stands in the gap. He literally does. Like there's a system in place who wish this man dead. And the reason for that is because they cannot control the people while he is still alive and that influential. All the persecution is not because they hate Trump. The persecution is that Trump is a threat to their power, their authority, and as
Their
long
agenda.
their agenda, he gets in the way, and that is what they hate. This is why I've learned to appreciate the man. I've studied and listened and carefully examined some of the things he did and what his enemies are saying, and I listen to their perspective and check out their motives. I say, you know what? We need to protect this man. We need to pray for this man.
He's the monkey wrench in their
I'm telling
gears.
you, he is. He is. There was a pastor that I listened to. He said this a long time ago, and that was about 2016. And when he said it, I used to be like, I had the liberal mindset, although I wasn't for Trump nor against Trump, but I had more of the leaning of the liberal, like Trump is not good kind of thing, right? But what he said, you see that man? He said he's a maverick. He said that. He's right. He said, I think God put Trump in that position. That's what he said. And I was thinking, this is a guy I respect. He's not even political in any sense. He's like all he does is Bible, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
But he made that political statement. And I sat back and it never departed from me. He said, he was preaching and he just made that detour to say that. He said, that maverick, God sent Trump to trouble a system. And he speaks from his heart. You may not like what he says, but what he tells you is what it is. You know what to expect from the man. And he says, you see that guy? One day we're going to love him. And the point he was trying to say, and this is a black pastor, no politics, not a Republican, no Republican. He just said that out of nowhere. And I sat there, I said, Lord have mercy. What in the world is this man thinking saying this? Like, you're not even supposed to be talking like that, especially from our denomination. We're trying to stay, we are like so apolitical. so when you say stuff like this, it's almost like, oh my Lord, white supremacists influenced him. But when I look back now and I'm listening now, I'm like, he said this, we're talking about 2016. Now I'm looking at him like, yo, he was right.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like everything he talked about and everything he said, it's come true.
Yes.
Like he hasn't lied about anything.
Yeah.
And everything he's ever said, every promise he's ever made, he's kept.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
he has a
what
rap
more
sheet,
do you
man.
want? Yeah,
He has a rap
granted,
sheet.
his way of speaking may not be the smoothest, but at least you can stand where the man.
You know what you're getting.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
Now, I had a verse for this actually.
Oh, please share it.
Judges 16 verses 17 and 19.
Judges. Oh wow, Judges. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
17 and 19.
No, Judges chapter 16 verses 17 and 19.
16, 17, and 19. All right, there you go.
So this is the story of Samson.
Okay.
That he told her with all his heart and said unto her, there hath not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. This is like when the frog trusts the scorpion, or the woman trusts the snake. Samson trusted Delilah with his innermost secret of his strength that he used to destroy the Philistines with.
Ooh, brother.
And what happened to him after that? Let's go to verse 19.
Okay. You're preaching now. Verse 19.
And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. Now, this is like the scorpion stinging the back of the frog, or the snake biting the woman. She turned around and took that information that she was given and turned it against him. Just like how you see the liberals doing to Trump. Anytime he says something or does something, they take that little bit of information and try to turn it against him. Is hard, and they keep trying to do it over and over and over again until something sticks.
Yeah.
And this is what Delilah did to Samson, is she took his strength from him and turned it against him, because she turned his love for her against him.
She weaponized that.
And she weaponized it and used it in order to get to him and get him into a state to where he would be vulnerable.
But it's interesting. She was working for the enemies of Samson.
Exactly.
While claiming to be his lover.
Exactly.
Oh my
So
lord! Yo, we can apply. You can apply. You have lights flashing all over my head right now. I'm gonna respect your preaching. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
So
boy,
this is why whenever we see and hear someone speak, we need to be careful and listen closely and carefully of what they're saying, what they're talking about, how they're saying it, and how they go about saying it, because you can tell a lot about a person by what they're saying, how they're saying it, and why they're saying it.
Wow.
And if they're speaking truth, then you'll know it. Because this is, it comes down to whether or not the Lord will show you whether or not you can trust someone. And in the end, Samson ended up getting his due.
Mercy. That's a sad story.
I think in the end, Trump's going to have his due.
Wow. Lord have mercy. Thank you for that. I won't take away. I think that was beautiful.
I think Trump is the Samson of our age.
Sheesh. Lord have mercy.